Namaste everyone and welcome back to the Trannabis Kitchen pre-show. I am Chef Trannabis, aka Jamie London Wahlberg, and I am honored to be here for this episode. It is season 2, episode 8. What a divine number, and I have a truly divine being coming to be a special guest at the show, which will be at 7 p.m. Pacific time, wherever you're watching this, 9 p.m. Central, 10 p.m. Eastern. So today, we are going to be making something that I've been working on for weeks. I have become very obsessed with protein balls, protein oat balls that are gluten-free and dairy-free, and vegetarian but not vegan because there is going to be honey in them. Welcome, Bean-gineers. And so we are going to be making 3 fancier styles. If you've been paying attention to the promotion for today's show, I've actually been very quiet about what I've been working on for the last couple of weeks. We are going to be making a banana grape walnut brulee protein ball. We are going to be making a cayenne caramel apple protein ball, and then we are also going to be making a lemon cranberry protein ball. And it's going to be awesome. They are going to be infused with fruit slabs. Shout out to Fruit Slabs. Thank you so much for sponsoring me. It is unusual that we get the option to use many different flavors in any of the shows, and we are definitely going to be doing that here. We're going to be using the Ep8, which is their sleepy time, which is going to be for the banana walnut. So I'm going to put that here for memory. We're going to be using the mango Maui Wowie, which is going to be for the cranberry lemon. And we are going to be using the tropical haze that we are going to be using for the cayenne caramel apple. And so we are actually going to be making our own little caramel. I've started to really get set up because there's a lot of prep here. But if you don't know, Fruit Slabs are a vegan, kosher certified, organic, no preservatives or artificial sugars or flavors added fruit leather. So they are an incredibly healthy edible. They look different depending on what they are. So this is the tropical haze, which has some hemp seeds. We're going to be making these with 2 milligrams approximately per a ball. So we are going to use 5 of them. And we're going to expect that we're going to make about 20 balls for each one. And you can make them in different sizes. You know, it totally depends on what size really resonates with you. I don't need this anymore, so I'm going to get this out of the way. Cleaning up a bit of a mess. We were just blending up because what is happening here is that we are working with dehydrated fruits. Why? Number 1, working with dehydrated fruits is more shelf sustainable. So the only thing that you have a little bit of challenge with sustainability for the most part in this recipe, in any of these recipes, is actually the protein oat milk. But protein oat milk that's gluten-free, vegan, that is actually going to be more shelf-sustainable than a lot of other milks. Pretty much everything else is really sustainable, and you don't have to worry about it. So you can eat these over the course of numbers of days, or they would, be something that you could potentially utilize, when you know that you need to have something on board, if you're not going to be around a fridge, or if you're just going to have a cooler. And protein oat balls are not new, but I've never seen ones that were infused and really made in this way. So what I did was I ended up actually, other than the cranberries, and only because it's, I guess, not, the season, and it was just really, really difficult to find them. I'll show you what these look like. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So you'll see that the mango Maui Wowies have coconut. And then the grape apes are just pure grape. Sleepy time, so you want to be careful about eating those. Protein balls are often, of course, a breakfast or a snack thing. I've been infatuated with them. I've made a lot of different flavors. I'm planning on doing something really special, so that way all of you get the opportunity to actually really embody and learn how to make these. And in the meantime, we are gonna take on this delicious episode. So what you'll see here, the base of this is going to be a gluten-free classic rolled oat. I like to go with this one because they're very big. They cover a lot of surface area, so we don't need to use as much. We're going to be using about a cup to a cup and a half, sometimes 2 cups of oats, depending on which recipe we are working with. We are going to, for the banana one, we're putting, all of them are getting unflavored pea protein. This is 3 tablespoons, the one thing that I ultimately measure in this, because you definitely want to know that. And I'll show you how we measure as well for the fruit slabs. We have raw, organic, unfiltered honey. 3 to 6 tablespoons are needed, depending on this, because if you buy your fruits and everything already dehydrated, then you don't need as much of it, and this is much faster. But if you have an air fryer like I do, that is also a dehydrator like I do, and you feel like dehydrating them, this is something that you can do, and is really not difficult, and completely elevates the entire experience. We're going to be using some cinnamon almond butter. I had ordered peanut butter, but then they got me almond butter, and that's okay. And the cinnamon is really going to work really well with all the flavors. And it's also, what I have. But I'm definitely looking forward to it the most with the caramel apples, of course. And then here is our magic. So what you're gonna see here, and I'm gonna show everybody, so don't worry, I'm gonna go over it. So what we have in here is our apples. So what I did was I took these apples, I drizzled them with a little bit of honey, and then actually I don't even think I drizzled them with honey. I just sprinkled them before I actually put them in with cayenne pepper. So there's a really strong bite to that. And then what I did was I actually put it into the blender, and so it's basically totally minced up and crushed up, and that's going to create an expansion across the surface of the ball, which is going to make sure that the flavor is even across the way. Then we have our banana walnut. So what I did was I actually bruleed myself. I sliced very thinly some banana. I wanted to make sure that it was a very ripe banana, so it was very sweet. Then after that, I sprinkled them with a little bit of sustainably organic coconut sugar, and then I actually torched them. I took my dab torch and I torched across them, and then I put them in the dehydrator. If you want to brulee ones that are already dehydrated, you could probably do that, but they might crack, and you might get some sort of flavor. This way, it baked off sort of any of the flavor that you might taste from a creme brulee that would be sort of like that butane taste, which we definitely don't want, and we want it to be safe. So I reverse engineered it, and then I actually put that in the blender as well, so that I could put it into very sort of like a sandy sort of bigger like a coral kind of texture. If it was broken up like pebbles, like those pebbly beaches that sort of, it's like the slate is crumbled up. That's kind of like what it is. Then I took these walnuts. These are already chopped walnuts, and I candied them very, very lightly because there's already going to be enough sweetness from our brulee banana. And so we're going to be utilizing that as well. Here for the cranberry lemon, I candied some lemon and lemon rinds. So this is what it looks like, chunky, and then what I did was I actually put that in the blender as well. So as you can see, it's nice and minced, so to speak. And then we have our cranberries. And I was planning, I'm dropping lemon everywhere. I was planning on actually utilizing the cranberries in a different context. I was actually hoping to get fresh cranberries that I could make a sauce with and fold that in and make a reduction. I tried to make a reduction with these that are, and tried to candy them, and I could have candied them, but the reduction was a little challenging. So I'm gonna grab another bowl because I forgot. I'm actually going to, you know what, I'm gonna grab a different, you know what, I'm just gonna, we're just gonna leave the almond butter as is, and I will just scoop it in when needed. We're gonna be using about 3/4 of a cup per each one. I already know that I'm gonna finish that one that's open, so I'm gonna also open this one. And ultimately, these recipes are really easy. The only thing that we basically have left to do is we're going to make a caramel. We're going to make this with a little bit of the oat milk as well as some actual of the raw filtered honey. So we're going to be drizzling the caramel on the outside of the cayenne caramel apple. And this is hopefully going to set on balls, so that way it's not actually messy, but that you start with that sort of sweetness so that that bite is actually pleasant and not overwhelming for people who are not interested in really having a kick. And basically what we do is we start with the process of taking the rolled oats. Then we are going to pour our gluten-free oat milk onto them, and basically it's like doing a overnight oats, but we're cheating because we're only letting them soak for a couple of minutes. Basically by leaving it as, you know, getting it all wet within the oat milk and then letting it sit there, and then all the ingredients, we just pile them on, and then once we're ready to, by the time we're ready to mix it all and mold it all together, believe it or not, that's all that's really necessary, because you're only putting in just enough milk for you to actually be able to have them soaking. And then you basically just, it's like a Play-Doh consistency. You're kneading and kneading and putting this in a dough, you hand roll it into balls, and you dip it, sort of, and roll onto the exterior the actual fruit slabs, and then you kind of mix it in. And that's the way that I've been making sure that I'm only doing 2 milligrams per ball, and then I really have all of that control. And I do that because each of these is 10 milligrams. And so naturally, if I slice it into even 5 lengths, and then I mince each one of those, then that is going to actually be 2 milligrams. So it's a really great way, and by doing that as the absolute last thing, once I've already rolled up the ball, I'm 1000% sure as to how much is in each one. So, with that said, I'm going to grab some more plates. So that way, when we're ready, we'll plate them. And test them out. I already have my containers ready because I'm going to be sending Julian home with some. And so I'm really excited. I'm trying to kind of keep everything in order where it's pretty obvious as to what is going in where, and making sure that I'm getting the flavors that Spirit guided me to do. Namaste, my friend. Thanks for joining the pre-show. So at this point, oh, also the one last thing is we're going to be putting about a teaspoon or so of Madagascar vanilla extract into the brulee. That's going to give us a little bit more of that vanilla brulee experience. And so we're going to start slicing these up. Julian should be here with me soon. And we're going to be able to get all this done because we're basically going to do it side by side, and it's going to be a really fun way for us to chat. For those who don't know, Julian Michael is an incredible entertainer. He's an entrepreneur. He's a writer. He is a hilarious stand-up comic, very brilliant, and a dear friend of mine. And we actually met by me asking him if he wanted some of my blunt at my first ever industry event back when I was still smoking blunts. I don't have anything with tobacco in it anymore, but we're bonded for life now. So this is how it looks like when they're sliced up. Namaste 420 Fairygram, welcome. So when they are sliced, this is the thickness that we're looking for. And so this is going to be equivocal to 2 milligrams of THC. I definitely do these as well with CBD, and they are incredible as well. And I've done many, many, many different flavors. So right now we're just slicing this up. 1, 2. Definitely want to make sure that these are kind of as evenly sliced as possible. You're probably looking at like 2 centimeters or so. We are going to be making at 7 o'clock 3 different types of protein oat balls that are infused with 2 milligrams each of CBD per ball. THC per ball from Fruit Slābs. So right now you've caught the Trannabis Kitchen pre-show. This is just a few minutes longer, 6 p.m. Pacific time to 6:20 Pacific time. I go over a little bit of the recipe because even though we will go over the recipe in the episode, we don't always have as much time to go so deep into it. So we're going to be actually making 3. We're doing a banana grape walnut brulee. We are doing a cranberry lemon, and we are doing a cayenne caramel apple. And these are all recipes that I personally channeled. I received from my guides. I didn't look up, anything on how to do this. This is simply how I work. I'm an intuitive chef, and the way that I function is by tapping in. And so right now I'm just in the prep process. I'm gonna grab some more containers because I definitely want to make sure that I'm using the right fruit slabs with the right flavors. So if anybody has any questions, they are very good. I've been working on this for weeks and weeks and weeks because I've just become obsessed with them. I was giving myself Reiki because I'm a Reiki practitioner as well, and during giving myself Reiki, I received this whole vision of these and the first recipe. None of these, I actually haven't made any of these flavors before. I've just made a lot of other flavors. Right now I think I have about 15 flavors. Most of those I've actually made already. And I will be doing something special. Let me make sure. Okay, no, this is the hemp seeds. Wait, tropical. I want to make sure that I'm putting what I decided to use in the right ones. The Mango Maui Wowie is for the lemon cranberry, so that's going to be the coconut. The tropical haze, which are with the hemp seeds, are going to be for the caramel apple. And right now we are going to be doing the caramel apple less because we're going to be making our caramel. So this is with the coconuts, which means, wait a minute, I just confused myself. The Mango Maui Wowie is the lemon cranberry. Okay, I was right. I don't know why I'm freaking myself out. Sometimes I do that. I worry that I'm not putting together something that has ultimately been decided. Okay, I'm getting organized here. Getting organized. So that's our slabs for this one. Remember, we are using the grape Ep8 for the banana walnuts brulee. So these are fancy flavors. This is like what was specifically I like to ask my guests what exactly would they want, what flavors do they like, et cetera, et cetera. And when I told Julian what I wanted to do and what I've been obsessed with, he was super into it and was really interested in doing, you know, sort of like bougie, which is not a judgment, but just really fancy versions of these. Oh my god, the kitchen already smells amazing because cutting up these fruit slabs is like, whew. So I'm going to finish getting ready. We're going to be back here wherever you are watching this. We are going to be back here, 7 p.m. Pacific time. Julian and Michael will be here. It is the first time that I'm having a guest come to the headquarters here as opposed to me going elsewhere or doing it virtual. So it's going to be one you do not want to miss. So I'll see you all again very soon. Thank you so much for watching the Trannabis Kitchen pre-show, and we'll see you for the Trannabis Kitchen at 7 p.m. Pacific time. Namaste.